Welcome to Microbe World, where we explore the hidden microscopic universe living right under your skin in stunning detail today. We are traveling deep down into a glowing pink tunnel that represents a human hair follicle, a truly fascinating biological structure. Down here, the temperature stays at a perfectly warm 37 degrees Celsius, accompanied by 100% cozy humidity levels. Meet C, a cute little bacterium who is slowly waking up on a shiny golden bed made of thick, natural sebum. This beautiful hair follicle cave shimmers with a gentle pink light, creating a wonderfully peaceful environment for our tiny microscopic friend. He lets out a massive, exaggerated yawn as his large, sleepy eyes look directly into the camera with an endearing expression. Muttering quietly to himself, he gently rubs his heavy eyes with his short arms, clearly wishing he could go back asleep. Suddenly, his tiny stomach begins to glow brightly, accompanied by a loud rumbling sound that reveals he is feeling extremely hungry. C slowly crawls out of his comfortable golden bed and excitedly grabs a tiny metallic spoon resting on a nearby rock. Holding the little spoon tightly, he scoops up a massive portion of thick, glowing, golden sebum with a very cheerful smile. He happily eats the delicious golden liquid, while little glowing sparkles of pure energy float beautifully around his tiny microscopic body. Without warning, a powerful gust of wind rushes down from the surface, blowing his tiny hair appendages wildly in the air. Tiny glowing white dots begin floating down into the dark cave, shifting the cozy pink lighting into a harsh, scary white. These sharp, glowing white molecules represent pure oxygen, a highly reactive and dangerous element that deeply terrifies our little bacterial friend. Panicking wildly, C frantically grabs a thick gray blanket made of dead skin cells and pulls it tightly over his head. He trembles fearfully under the textured gray blanket, with only his big, frightened eyes peeking out from a very small gap. When a white oxygen molecule touches a bacterial cell wall, it causes the cell to instantly burn and disintegrate into nothing. Deep inside the cross-section of the follicle, C remains safely hidden at the absolute bottom, far away from the oxygen. As the glowing white oxygen dots finally fade away, he slowly and cautiously peeks out from his blanket, looking incredibly relieved. He cautiously crawls up the dark wall of the cave towards the entrance, carefully staying hidden within the deep black shadows. Looking outside the cave entrance, he sees the bright surface of human skin illuminated by harsh light and floating oxygen molecules. Out on the bright surface, a lively group of pale yellow spherical bacteria are happily bouncing and dancing in the light. These friendly yellow bacteria possess incredibly tough outer layers, making them completely unaffected by the dangerous glowing white oxygen molecules outside. Standing safely in the dark shadow of the cave entrance, C raises his tiny hand to wave a friendly greeting outside. One cheerful yellow bacterium enthusiastically waves back across a glowing, semi-transparent boundary that perfectly separates the dark and bright worlds. C confidently points forward as a holographic shield icon appears, showing the yellow bacteria bravely blocking ugly, spiky fungal spores away. He then points down into his dark cave, where a holographic meter displays a perfectly balanced acidic environment for healthy skin. This beautiful split screen shows how they work together, fighting fungi on the surface while maintaining perfect acid balance down below. A quick simulation reveals that if they fail, the skin surface quickly turns angry red and becomes covered in dark spots. Standing tall and puffing out his tiny chest with immense pride, our little hero holds a glowing acid drop beautifully high. He travels back down to the very bottom of the cave, sitting comfortably on golden sebum while patting his full stomach. A cartoon thought bubble instantly appears above his head, displaying a majestic waterfall of endless, delicious golden sebum flowing down beautifully. Suddenly, the comforting pink light of the cave turns completely dark, shattering the peaceful atmosphere and leaving him in absolute confusion. A massive, ominous shadow falls over the entire follicle as the cave walls begin to shake violently and dust falls down. He stares upward in absolute horror as a gigantic wave of milky white liquid comes crashing down like a terrifying tsunami. This milky white wave is completely filled with aggressive, glowing, microscopic spheres that spark continuously with highly dangerous and explosive energy. These aggressive molecules act exactly like spiky underwater mines, violently releasing massive bursts of bright white atomic oxygen into the environment. Screaming with his tiny mouth wide open, he quickly drops his little spoon and runs away as fast as physically possible. Desperately scrambling for survival, he immediately dives into the deepest, darkest, and narrowest crack located at the very bottom of the cave. Behind him, the milky white tsunami violently crashes into the upper levels, completely obliterating the pink walls in a massive explosion. Several other unfortunate bacteria characters near the top are instantly touched by the white wave and dissolve into absolute empty nothingness. Huddled safely inside the dark crack, he watches the horrific destruction unfold, while his tiny chest heaves from absolute pure terror. He tightly clasps his tiny hands together in desperate prayer, keeping his eyes shut and hoping the destructive white wave stops. This abstract scientific visualization shows atomic oxygen acting like microscopic glowing buzzsaws that ruthlessly cut through and destroy fragile bacterial walls. Covering his face tightly with his tiny hands, he turns away from the blinding white flashes of the horrific microscopic massacre. The violent chemical storm reaches its absolute peak, filling the entire cavern with blinding white light and incredibly toxic swirling foam. Curled up into a tightly packed, trembling ball in the deepest shadow, our tiny hero looks absolutely terrified and completely helpless. A thought bubble reveals a stylized ancient cave painting depicting a giant white monster mercilessly wiping out an entire bacterial village. A split screen shows a human applying white acne cream outside, causing an apocalyptic nuclear explosion deep inside the dark follicle. The powerful chemical reaction vigorously sizzles and pops, violently breaking down large, ugly blockages of hardened sebum with thick white foam. Holding his breath with puffed-out cheeks, he survives inside a tiny air pocket, while toxic white foam aggressively bubbles nearby. The thick, white, toxic foam continues bubbling and hissing loudly, resting just a single millimeter away from his fragile, protective blanket. The entire environment turns intensely red to visualize extreme heat, leaving him sweating profusely as if trapped inside a blazing furnace. Eventually, the violent bubbling begins to slow down as the harsh white light flickers, proving the chemical reaction is losing momentum. The blinding white light gradually fades away entirely as the deadly atomic oxygen bubbles finally pop and dissipate into empty air. The devastated follicle is now completely empty, sterile, and perfectly clean, brutally stripped of its beautiful pink glow and golden sebum. Remaining completely frozen in his dark corner, he keeps his wide eyes unblinking, feeling entirely too terrified to move a muscle. Very slowly and cautiously, he finally pokes his tiny head out from under the blanket to observe the completely altered landscape. Walking out into the middle of the empty cave, holographic ghostly outlines of his former bacterial friends briefly appear, then fade. Standing alone in the massive empty space, his tiny body trembles uncontrollably, making him look incredibly small and deeply vulnerable today. He takes a very deep breath to stop his trembling, gently patting his own face to show remarkable strength and resilience. Looking directly into the camera lens, he lets out a massive sigh of relief while wiping fake sweat from his forehead. A mischievous and highly confident smile quickly forms on his face as he points upward toward a tiny, new, golden drop. A humorous split screen shows the human host eating a super spicy pepper, causing the gland to pump fresh golden oil. A beautiful thick drop of rich golden sebum drips down from the ceiling, landing right in front of him with perfection. A holographic chart appears, showing the human stress meter going up, which, surprisingly, causes the natural oil supply meter to maximize. Standing proudly on top of the new oil drop, he playfully flexes his tiny, non-existent muscles to declare his strong return. Grabbing his tiny metallic spoon once again, he gets into a fast-running stance, completely ready to dive into fresh sebum. A fast-forward animation shows him rapidly eating the delicious oil and instantly dividing into 8 identical, happy little bacteria clones. This beautiful artistic montage perfectly visualizes the endless biological cycle of filling with oil, chemical clearing, and refilling all over again. Standing side by side, the two friendly bacteria hold hands, while a glowing green aura symbolizes a perfectly healthy skin ecosystem. A glowing balancing scale appears on screen, perfectly harmonizing the friendly microscopic bacteria on one side with gentle skincare products. A soft, glowing blue liquid gently washes over the skin surface, effectively cleaning everything without destroying any of the friendly bacteria. Waving cheerfully to the audience one last time, our tiny hero happily dives belly first into a massive, fresh oil pool. The camera slowly pulls back up the dark tunnel of the hair follicle, leaving him behind to emerge onto the surface. An extreme wide shot reveals the microscopic skin landscape, where millions of glowing follicles dot the surface like a biological galaxy. The elegant glowing text reminds us that these special microscopic creatures naturally fear pure oxygen, but absolutely love living in darkness. Another friendly message appears on screen, reminding everyone to never destroy them completely, but rather keep their delicate microscopic environment balanced. The screen beautifully transforms into an interactive digital graphic, displaying a giant glowing question mark perfectly surrounded by floating skincare bottles. 2 stylized bottles magically appear on the screen, asking viewers to choose between a powerful red formula and a gentle blue. A glowing arrow points downward as animated speech bubbles pop up, encouraging all viewers to share their personal skincare routines below. Thank you for visiting Microbe World today. We hope you enjoyed this cinematic journey, and remember to subscribe for more adventures.